Okay, and we're live. Episode 00 of the Oracles of Ottawa Weekly with Cody and Davey.
Yo, what's up, internet? This is our fifth take, I think.
Yeah,
So,
we're a little rough around the edges, but
yeah, we're new to the whole YouTube and internet streaming game. Cody's been uploading, I think bi-weekly or weekly, has it been?
about once a week. I've been trying to step it up. I'm trying to get to 2. But yeah, so about a month now I have 5 or 6 videos.
Right.
65 subscribers. No big
Right.
deal.
So in the quest for internet stardom, we're going to start a live stream, and I'm going to start contributing to the Oracles of Ottawa channel as well, talking about business, finance,
Investing, anything.
investing,
Yeah.
everything that you don't want to watch if you have anything better to do. Fuck, that.
No, it's good stuff. People like it. We're interested in it, so there must be other people interested in it.
Right, and
Right.
it seems like there's a real gap right now in quality YouTube channels that feature, I guess, just people talking about finance, and especially maybe more so from a younger perspective. I mean,
Yeah.
the two of us are, well, I'm 22 and you're 20.
It's gonna be
How old are you?
21 soon.
21
Dave,
now.
how do you not know this?
Yeah. But I think that it might be interesting kind of hearing about the trials and tribulations of two people who are starting out, in the world of business and investing and kind of learning bottom to top in the, modern millennia.
Yeah, there's a few YouTube channels that are doing stuff with business and finance, kind of investing out there, but there's definitely a audience I think that could grow. So here's
And
some
yeah,
of the
and
next
I mean, further to
65.
that too, like a lot of the channels that are out there right now are, those just bullshit channels
Tai
that will make
Lopez.
you believe that, the Tai Lopez
Yeah.
of the world that, all they do is talk about how much money and how many Lamborghinis they have, but then they never really
Here
give
in
you
my
any,
garage.
yeah, and then they never give you any real advice other than just, follow your dreams and
Buy my
you should
course.
quit your job to pursue entrepreneurship and all this bullshit. But
Yeah.
it's such a fake thing. So I
Fake
think it'll be
news.
interesting for like two authentic perspectives.
Exactly.
And maybe
we're
we
gonna-
should talk about too, like our experiences and what we kind of do right
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna do that, and also we're gonna try to get like people that are entrepreneurs on the show as guests throughout week to week. So we're gonna do that. So do
I
you
think
wanna
that'll be a core portion of the show, right?
Yeah,
We're going
that
to try to
should
get
be-
on a guest probably every week,
Try to get one every week.
featuring a young entrepreneur. And we're going to look in industries that other people don't really talk a lot about. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk to young people, who are our age, who are starting up companies in vaping industries
Mm-hmm.
and in the marijuana industry, and even maybe like food, like cooking services, stuff like that. Like
Definitely.
literally any kind of young entrepreneurs, we're going to bring them on and just ask them questions and kind of gain perspective from them.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see a different person every week. We're gonna try to get on.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are interesting, then maybe we'll have you on as a guest. So
Yeah.
do you want to talk a bit about what each of us do, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, you start.
Okay, yeah. I've been working in the manufacturing sector and sales, and more recently into a business development position with a steel company. So kind of an industry that not a lot of people our age are entering right now, steel and manufacturing. Also, a lot of industry that people think is dead and just simply moved to China, which isn't the case. So that's kind of the end that I come from. Also, a little bit of financial background, I guess, recently delving further and further into finances and investing in the stock market and stuff like that. So over to you.
Okay. So what the thing is one of the things that I do is I'm just finishing up school. Currently work at one of the 5 major banks. Been interested in investing since my last year of high school, so going on 3-4 years now. I've been trading stocks for a year and a half now, so I've my toes dipped in the water. I was really interested in finance, so that's why I went in. I'm going to be finishing up my a 3-year diploma soon, and yeah, I'm interested in all things finance and business. So you can see some of the stuff. I did a video on the Snap IPO. I did one on how much money Donald Trump has, poker and investing. So that's the kind of stuff that I want to bring to the channel. And yeah, and we're gonna do we're gonna try to aim maybe one video from us each a week, and then we're gonna do the podcast. So there'll be lots of content coming at you.
I feel like I've never tried to break down my life experience in
Yeah.
a 1 minute block before that.
Literally though, yeah. You gotta tell all the thousands, and I'm sure maybe tens of thousands of people that are gonna watch this.
Yes, definitely.
Who you really are. It's really weird to talk about yourself, especially like doing assignments in school. It's like I'm in a leadership course and they're like, why are you a good leader? I'm like, what kind of question? Like, it's such a stupid question.
Oh, it's an important question, I think.
I know, but it's so hard to talk about yourself and like.
Yeah, it is. It is. I find the same thing.
I'm a good leader because I tell people what to do and like.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're supposed to.
You got to hone in on that one.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what's point number 3 on the stuff we're going to feature on this podcast?
Okay, so we already went over who we are, what we do.
Oh,
Davey and I have pretty different backgrounds. He's coming from a thrown into the deep end kind of learning business from experience. I've got a formal education, so it's going to bring both contrasts that we're going to see. And I thought it'd be cool to tell them the origin story. I wanted this podcast, episode 00, to be kind of like get to know the host, get a feel for us before we jump right in with bringing people on the show. So I think we'd give them an origin story of how we met. Maybe keep it G-rated. And yeah, so do you want to start off how we met?
That makes it sound like there was some sort of like sexual encounter between the two of us or something.
Not true.
There wasn't. Okay.
There was.
Are you going to tell the story? Or am I telling? I don't really remember the story, to be honest with you.
Well, that hurt my feelings.
Eh?
That hurt my feelings.
Sorry.
You didn't remember it? Okay. Well, you went over to see Jeff's MG. So another thing about Davey restores classic MG cars. We met through a mutual friend. We had a party that night. Davey and I partied. And this is the worst story ever.
That was the most
this
unnatural.
Is so bad. Davey and I partied. Davey and I met when he was doing a little extra lap of high school. And I was,
everyone's totally gonna believe that we're like super legit now. Damn, these two party, man.
So gay together. Davey was doing a little extra high school time, right, Dave?
Yeah. It took me a little while.
Yeah, it took grade 12 was the best 3 years of Dave's life. I mean, just kidding.
Yeah. I wasn't quick to graduate, but
Dave's a little slow.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not really an formal education brain type, I guess.
True.
I mean, everybody thinks that they're a misunderstood intellectual, and
True.
definitely, I don't think that I'm far from perfect, but I definitely do have some strengths. And certainly none of them are kind of related to stuff, to school. Yeah. So
you're not very
that's something that
figures.
Yeah.
So Dave's a year older than me, so I was still in high school. Met through a mutual friend. We actually went off to college together, and made some good friendships there. I kept going. Davey did a few things after he dropped out, and then he hooked up with the steel wire company, and then history from there.
It's been all uphill from there.
Yeah.
That was really the pivotal moment in my life, I guess. When dropping out of college was the big kind of shift, and it was time to get a real job and then
get your life together.
Yeah, for sure. And then, you start picking up interest as you kind of do things. I don't believe, I think that so many people make up the excuse of like, I don't know what to do with my life and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you just have to kind of start doing stuff and just getting out there, and then you'll find your passions pretty quickly. I absolutely love what I do, and I'm so passionate about my work.
This is the age where you can try different stuff and, take risks. You don't have a family to support,
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people will just be like, "Oh, I don't know what I want to do," so then they talk about that for years, and then they've just sat in their fucking bedroom and have never really done anything noteworthy.
And then there's senior management at Best Buy, and they're like, where'd my life go? Like,
yeah.
So
for sure. Now what?
So now we can discuss some more stuff. That we have a great list of stuff. Just kidding. That's
Look at that hearty list of things to talk about.
That's all there. So what else should we cover? Getting to know the host and the future of the channel and the future of the podcast in general. What do you think?
Right. Well, I guess most notably, you've been contributing, and I'm going to start contributing to the same channel. And I think I'm going to focus on you're doing like a lot of shorter animation videos like that, and I think I'm going to do a little bit more of technical things. And also, I want to put out a disclaimer right now that like I don't think neither of us are the type of people who are going to tell you that we know everything. In fact, like I'm humbled every day by how little I know. And I think that kind of honesty will be a good thing. And we talked about that earlier too. How about a lot of channels are just, they'll tell you that they're the best and they know the stock market and yada yada, but really they have no experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we're in the same boat, but I think that we both do have some strengths. Like I've been fairly successful so far in my career for sure, and definitely successful in some other ventures that I've been involved in. So I want to do like a couple of videos about maybe how to make money at any age, flipping stuff, buying and selling, and more, I guess, more specific tutorials while you're kind of covering a lot of broader subjects, right?
Yeah, I want to expand and put my videos a little longer form. I got to get used to writing out the script, doing the voiceover, doing the animation with that. Maybe put it into a longer format would be better. It's just something you got to work on, right? Because coming out of the gate, obviously, your video is going to be shitty off at the beginning. These podcasts are probably going to be shit for the first, let's call it a dozen or so,
Yeah.
before you actually get, what you're doing. You have a flow, you have a rhythm. You don't feel forced in front of the camera. So
the YouTube grind is no easy thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
I think that having a third person to play off will definitely help. And that's going to be really, like we mentioned, it's going to be the kind of what we center this around. We'll be having other guests on and just getting their perspectives and stuff on the business world.
It'll be interesting to everyone's different walk of life and how they look at different things and their experiences, how they see the world. And stuff like that. And
we're going to try to take bipartisan stances as much as we can too, right? Kind of try to sit in the middle and just, let everything kind of come in and give logical opinions, not just kind of polarizing opinions or we know that this is right, because obviously that's never going to be the case. We don't know that anything is right. As young business people just starting out, we have this much experience in life and in business and investing.
Literally two kids, just running through the world.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you look at a lot of these other channels that I'm not going to name anybody specifically, but there's so many young people on YouTube who upload videos in the financial and business ends, and they just talk about how smart they are and how fantastic they are in the stock market. And people really receive it.
And they eat it up. People love
it. And they eat it up.
They love it because it's so sexy, right? It's like, oh, you can turn 10,000 into $1 million. You can turn $100 into $1,000.
For sure.
It's
and
so
they make
sexy.
it seem like it's easy, right? If this 19-year-old kid on YouTube telling me about how much money he's made on the stock market, bought a penny stock for $1,000 and turned it into 200 grand overnight, the reality is that it just doesn't work that way, and that's just not. It's not realistic. And then
it's all a fallacy, right? People put on this image of, buy my course and then you can be like me, you can be rich, you can buy a Lamborghini, look at my watch, like.
Yeah, go on Instagram and see all the trash that's on there.
Tons and tons of Lamborghinis, watches, cash, pictures of cash, and this guy's iPad with stock charts, and it's like, follow my stuff and I know what to do. It's like, if you were born, after 1990, you probably have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
true.
they're 27-year-olds. I'm sure there's 27-year-olds that probably know what they're doing. If you're born after 1990, 5 or 93, and you're 25, you probably have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance of it. That's not to say that everybody.
It's not definite. It's not definite, but.
Definitely, there's age is a big factor, right? In age and experience for sure, and that doesn't mean that you can't be young and successful, obviously, and it doesn't mean that you can't turn $1 into $1 million when you're young. It's possible. It's just that we're going to try to talk about kind of realistic ways and kind of have a realistic, I guess, idea and not to push across ridiculous ideas to people that they can get rich overnight, because getting rich and building a real sum of wealth is a grind that takes your whole life, right? It's a commitment to make for your whole life.
Definitely, definitely. And it's not that you don't want to discourage people don't go in this. It's just you got to be realistic about stuff. And they always say 99% of traders fail, and it's for a reason, right? People dedicate their whole lives to only knowing about crude oil or something like that. There's literally floors of Goldman Sachs all trying to take your money, and if you slip up just one time, you're broke like that.
Yeah, and people go on good runs too, right? Where they make a couple of trades. We're talking about specifically the stock market right now, where I guess not. It kind of applies broader too, but people will make a couple of good trades in their early days, and then they think that they're God, and they think that they know everything, and that they're the smartest person on earth. And then all it takes is one mistake, and all of a sudden, you'll be back down to kind of where you started and back grounded on earth.
You gotta get humbled,
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. So. People, it would go hedge fund managers, even people that manages millions and millions of dollars. They have a trading strategy and say they trade, just based on volatility or just based on one thing. Then, and then it all changes, and that method doesn't work. It changes from a bull market to a bear market, or it just changes up, and then they don't know what they're doing. They lose more money than they did the previous 10 years, and so.
Mm-hmm. So where are we going to be uploading?
This?
Just on YouTube?
So, yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. Good idea. For right now, we're going to upload this video to the YouTube channel. In the future, I think once we get, consistent, a couple followers, maybe a couple dozen, cross our fingers, maybe 24, we can live stream it. If we get a live stream. So we do this, we just, we would record, we'd use the same stuff. Just talking to Davey pretty much right now. We'd use the same software and everything, and we just, this broadcasting can just live stream it right now.
Right.
So I was thinking for the first one we wouldn't, but maybe in the future if someone's interested in that, and then maybe we'd call up people that have questions live
cool
on the show.
Get to that point for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people say like podcasting, you shouldn't start it if you don't already have a fan base, but I think it's something really good for development within personal brand and content.
Not only that, but it's just going to be something to kind of burn up a couple of weekend hours with, right? And we're going to talk about things that are productive.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be just I think a good hobby, more or less, right? So I mean, whether or not we really can build a following, I mean, we're going to put a couple of episodes out there, right, and give it a good shot and see if we can pick up any kind of traction.
Yeah, definitely. And this is not going to be something that's going to be high edited and lots of this kind of stuff. It's going to be more laid back, chilled compared to the videos that we're going to be uploaded, because those have a decent amount of production value, I find, with the going through the animation. There's a script, it spends 3-4 hours for a 4-minute video, right? Where this is something maybe you put in the background and you listen to while you're playing Xbox or something,
Yeah.
And
Hopefully we can get to be more meat and potatoes than something that's to be watched passively, though, at the same time. Because, if we can start bringing on a couple of guests, and we already have some people lined up, some young entrepreneurs who are in industries that maybe you probably haven't even thought about before. And that's why I'm stressing that this is kind of what we're doing, because there's nobody else that's doing this kind of thing. And if you're young and you want to learn, or even old, it doesn't matter. But if you want to kind of get a realistic idea of how to start making some money in your life, then I think this podcast could actually be a pretty good resource for you, because we're definitely going to be bringing on some interesting people. And we ourselves too. I hope I didn't sell ourselves too short in saying that. But we both have actually strong, we have our strong suits for sure.
Yeah.
And we've both been very successful in all our own rights, I'd say, right, financially.
Definitely.
So I think that we have our own kind of perspective to bring to the table too, but also just kind of a good mindset. We're good at kind of zooming out and looking at the big picture and not getting overexcited, but also being able to kind of see opportunities and break them down and talk about them and kind of churn it over.
I think a really good realistic approach to most things. A lot of stuff online, it's all everyone wants to be like a marketer, digital marketing, social media manager. They want to start their own, there's tons and tons of stuff. It's just you got to bring it back to the basics of building up a business, right?
Yeah, a brick and mortar business.
A brick and mortar business. It's not everyone wants to be like an advertising. It's sexy, right? Everyone loves Batman.
How many times have we been told by young people, I'm going to start a marketing firm, or I'm going to do this?
So and many people.
Yeah, don't sell your, that's awesome, man. Have dreams, but you have no experience. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, if you have an MBA in marketing and you have another really smart guy that's the greatest graphic designer of all time,
sure.
And you bring that together, and your heart's set, and you're a real smart guy, and your bread and butter is marketing, you become a marketer. But if you just finished your 3-year trade school of general business or whatever, it's saturated market, and growing businesses is not as sexy as gonna build the Instagram followers and so.
Yeah. I think also maybe this is just my bias because I've never been one for education, I guess, myself, but also just because you have a 4-year business degree in marketing doesn't mean that you all of a sudden are going to know how to run a business and just get out of school and just open up a marketing firm and be successful, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't try if that's what you want to be doing and you've got a plan, then go for it for sure. But I just think it's important to kind of zoom out a little bit and look at, how is a coffee shop? How could I start a coffee shop successfully tomorrow? Can I do just a brick and mortar business? Where can I start making money tomorrow? Not with some, marketing firm, but a real brick and mortar business.
People don't even think of stuff like dry cleaners. Like dry cleaners make such good money, like
Yeah,
such high
it'd
profit
be great
margins.
to bring in like local dry
That'd be,
cleaning.
yeah, like imagine you get a really hip, cool dry cleaner owner. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know, barber shop. You know, if you're a general trades guys make so much money, especially if they have any kind of, if you have a good accountant and you're in trades, like I do books for guys that are in trades, and obviously they have a good accountant. I work for an accountant, and they make good money based on, like any kind of trades guys make good money, and if you know how, you know, deduct expenses, and you know how to manage your finances, you pay yourself through dividends, you don't take salary, you take your wife out for dinner, you put her on the company card, but she's your secretary, and you talk about business, you go over
Don't
your
tell the
quarterly
CRA
reports.
though.
Yeah, don't. But this is all legal stuff, right, Dave? Like, this is not even like
No, I
shady
know.
loophole stuff. If you know how to manage your finances,
True.
you can, even if you don't know how to manage your finances, general trades, you can make a shit ton of money. But
There's
if you
so
do-
many different industries and
Become an
businesses that
electrical-
can make
yeah.
absolute fortunes, right? That can truly make you a millionaire within like 5 to 10 years. I mean, there's so many businesses that you can start just building tomorrow with the experience that you have that
With
can make you
general
real money.
contractors, you know?
Yeah, and we're not going to only talk about like stuff like that because I know that might get boring pretty quick. Talking about stuff that you see every day, like we're going to bring on some young guys who I mentioned earlier, the vape industry. Like we know of a couple of people who do marketing services in the vape for vaping products, and just also guys who are in.
We were just shooting
Sorry.
down the marketing dream.
Right. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna
Exactly.
bring in a marketer, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean
shows-
that's a niche market though.
Yeah.
It's kind of something a little bit different. But we're just going to kind of give a wide perspective on different and feature different industries constantly, right? And try to look at different places because I think that our generation particularly, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think overall our generation is kind of shifting towards only going into information and technology industries, right? Like a lot of young people are going into programming and they want to be bankers and that kind of stuff, right? But there's not a whole lot of people who are kind of going into just brick and mortar, like working at a steel company or something. There's no young people coming into the manufacturing sector, and there's so many interesting, dynamic, and fulfilling jobs in those industries that people just don't know about, right?
and big money too.
And absolutely huge money.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many different, I mean, I use manufacturing as an example, but like there's so many other different places. I can't really think of any examples right now, but like there's so many different industries and so many different places to look for work that you'd never really know about unless you're in the industry. And I think that's a shame. I think that like we don't talk about some of the jobs that are out there enough. And I don't think that these employers are getting out and reaching out to young people enough either. I think that's kind of a problem, but
Definitely.
yeah. So are we going to wrap this up now, or what do you think?
I think we should call it a wrap there. I think that's a solid episode 00. I feel like we got a feel for the hosts, you and I think they have a solid direction of where we're going to go in the future. We're going to try to do this weekly.
We are going to do it weekly. We need to make a strong
yeah.
commitment if we're going to make a good push to
Definitely.
to make
we're
this
do
work.
It weekly. We're going to call it, we'll probably record on Sundays. You'll see it probably Fridays by Friday. That's as solid as we're going to get. Okay. Thanks for watching episode 00. It's been your host, Cody and Davey, signing off.